Welcome to One More Game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. I'm your host, Matt Brandenberger, alongside my, give me an adjective, tired, exhausted,
Yeah.
dirty.
Yes. Keep going.
All of the
getting
above.
better and better.
This is Abby. Hello, Abby.
Hello, Abby.
We are back at home. We were last week at the library. We've kind of been back and forth between studios, but we are back in the comfort of our own home. It's good to be home. Home sweet home. It
is, but right now there's fireworks going off and we have two terrified dogs.
Right.
So they're just kind of...
So they're kind of up and down.
They got their tails between their legs. It's very sad.
We're not in a war zone right now, despite what you might hear in the background. Hopefully our dogs don't get too panicked. I guess the good thing is they're not going to start like...
They might. You never know.
Doing crazy things, barking. Never know. But yeah, we had a great time with Randy. Thank you to him for coming in to the studio. We did get in a little bit trouble.
We did.
Of trouble. Full disclosure.
We were threatened.
That we might have been
banned.
I think we're okay now. And if anybody from the library is listening, we apologize profusely.
We were very sorry.
We had no idea about the no alcohol on premises policy that evidently is a thing. So.
And then when you throw your beer cans in the trash can, it's easy to spot who it was.
Yeah. So
we're sorry.
Mistakes were made. There was no intoxication. It was all in good fun. The only thing I was worried, I didn't think about like the library having an issue with it. I was a little nervous about like, I don't want to spill anything on the equipment, which probably wasn't the wisest thing, but we were careful. I don't know. So anyways, sorry to the library. Sorry for all of the Allen County public taxpayers that listen to this as well. We will do better. But that is why we are. No, that's not why we're in our home tonight. But hopefully we'll be back at the beautiful Allen County Public Library again, filming again at some point. But we have played with Randy several times.
Yeah.
Had a great time with him.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. He is just a different cat in terms of just being able to just
do anything he wants.
Anything he wants. He's living the life
everywhere on
of
the
a single man. Yeah.
In life.
Yep. So,
I do like playing with him because he's left-handed, and he takes every single ball because our forehand's in the middle, and I don't do anything. I just stand there. It's really great.
Well, you know what? I'm happy to provide that for you as well.
You're not as good as he is.
Oh, shots fired. No, he is, and he's taught us several things, and we're going to kind of get into that a little bit today because this episode we are going to talk about what we are working on, and we're going to kind of go through some of the stages of the pickleball point and kind of emphasize what we're working on in each of those stages. Yeah. So excited to get into that. First though, life's been crazy. We always talk about that. Family first. We actually did an amazing thing. Was that just last weekend? It was, wasn't it? So Saturday, we put out 1,000 flags. Actually, 1,014.
Yeah.
To be exact. Little American flags, and stuck them in the ground with Abby's business card on them all throughout our neighborhood. We have over 1,000 houses in our neighborhood.
At the end of every driveway.
End of every driveway. And the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. But again, we ticked some people off this week.
One guy.
Anyway, just one guy. We won't name any names.
One guy's mad.
He wasn't real happy about the soliciting, which I did look up the definition of soliciting.
And I did not solicit him.
And to be clear, Abby did not solicit. If you look up the Oxford definition of soliciting. But yeah, sticking an American flag on the 4th of July.
4th of July weekend.
I mean, it seems legit, but one gentleman did not like that. He would have preferred we pick them all up.
He said if I had any decency at all, I would walk myself around the neighborhood and pick them all back up.
And you know what? That wasn't going to happen. Because after we put them all down, the last thing I was ever going to do is go take them out. So, but again, it was
really fun, and the neighborhood looked really fun.
Literally, at least a dozen people said, oh, they're so cute, and it was fun to drive up and down. So I think we're getting your name out there. You got an open house tomorrow. You're working hard. So I am very proud of you for all the effort you're putting into your new career as a real estate agent, and hoping sooner than later the Lord blesses that and it starts to help us pay some bills, which would be fantastic.
I would love that.
Right. let's see, what else? What one thing I thought this was a funny story is we were going around. We took the girls on Saturday night to um, to help put these flags in, and Eleanor, our youngest, who actually did the best job,
She
but
did.
she was kind of traumatized because she had a loose tooth that was like hanging on by a thread, and we kept on like trying to get her to pull this tooth out, and at one point I think I was threatening her. I said, we'll give you $10.
Well, and at one point I had said, I can't. She was talking to me, and I said, I can't listen. I can't hear girls' voices who have a loose tooth
Okay.
randomly. So she's like, Mommy can't hear me.
But my favorite line that she had, because she mixes up like
Words.
words all the time, and I think I threatened her saying she wasn't going to get like a treat or something. And she goes, Daddy, that's not fair. You're mailboxing me.
I did not
And
understand.
Abby's like, mailboxing. I knew right away what she was trying to say was blackmailing. So she got the mail part right, but she called it mailboxing, which I just, again, those things she
Well,
called
that's
a,
like her magic hat.
right. She called a hat trick in soccer a magic hat. When
She had a magic hat one
right.
week.
So she's our youngest. We're not going to correct those things. We're
No.
going to let her live her life as long as we can, believing some of these things to be false.
So funny.
So fun. But yeah, it has been. It's been busy. It's been crazy. I do have this behind
Oh,
us
yeah.
also because we didn't talk about this, but this
Yeah,
is
you
my
won. Way to go.
my giant ticket from the Duper waterfall event that was a
Been a
couple
few
weeks ago.
weeks,
Yeah,
yeah.
a couple weeks now. But that was an interesting event. Did we talk about that at all? Because they grouped us all together.
I have no memory of
I
this.
don't either. But anyways, it was a fun tournament. Did come out on top, and so in October I have a free entry into the event in Texas. So if it's okay with you, I might go. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna go. Even though the event's free, which is really enticing, the fact that I would have to still get an airline ticket. Unless we have any listeners in the Dallas area that would like to provide me with, and Abby, I'd bring her along too. If we could do that.
Can
Uh,
I be your partner?
sure, why not? I mean, who knows?
You didn't want me for your partner in that tournament.
That's true. But now that a trip could be involved. But we cannot take any more trips. We are going to nationals. We got that kind of solidified with our lodging at least this week, and it's lot going on. And we keep saying, hey, once you sell some houses, that'll allow us to do some more of this fun stuff. But it's not just the money; it's the time as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, congratulations on your big win.
thank you. My partner was Brennan, and Brennan played great, and um,
Yeah.
it was what it was. We played 4 matches. Not sure if I would do another one of those events
Yeah, for
again.
$80.
It was $80 for 4. But again, that 80, if I would have committed to going to the national tournament, which I don't even know how big
So
of a
you
national
won,
tournament.
and you didn't even know if you'd go. That feels really selfish.
Really selfish.
Yeah.
I could pass my ticket to somebody else.
Well, you can.
Maybe. Or maybe I have to go.
Maybe this is your ticket. You can just hand it to somebody.
It's large. It is.
For
Pretty
those of
large.
you not watching, it's ginormous. It's been decor in our bedroom now for a few weeks.
I kind of like it. I mean,
course you do.
maybe it was a little much that I put it above the bed, but I do like to look at it before I go to sleep every night.
You do.
One of the girls did ask, like, if you go, do you have to take that with you? Like,
Yeah, I
you
have to put it in my
turn,
pocket.
you have to turn that in. Which I thought was pretty funny.
That's really funny.
So, all right. Anything else,
No.
family wise? You want to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So this week's episode, we are talking about what we're working on, what parts of the game. We actually had a clinic today that we had I don't know, about a dozen people that showed up, kind of working on the basics, and we walked them through the 4 stages of the pickleball point and kind of the things that they want to work on. And we
Mhm.
thought, well, this would be a good opportunity for us to talk about those 4 stages again. So
For reference, this is episodes 1 through 4.
yes. So you could go back and individually break those down, but we thought we'd quickly talk about each one and maybe something you and I are working on, and also something for our newer listeners who may be beginners might
Mhm.
be wanting to work on
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So we'll start with stage 1 of a pickleball point is the serve and the return.
Yeah.
So what are you working on or thinking about in the serve and return right now?
Yeah. I mean, is it is it fair to like kind of talk through stages? Like,
Sure.
my duper is over a 4.5. I'm like a 4.5 something. You're a 4.8 duper. Like, so as you get higher level, there are just different things you work on. Because at this point, like nuances make a big difference.
Yeah.
Whereas like a 3.5, maybe even a 4.0, it's less of a difference. Now I don't know. It almost seems like.
You made a good point as we were talking earlier. You said when you first started out, the list of things that you wanted to work on were 2 or 3. You were kind of focused on those. Now you say your list is longer.
My list is a mile long of things that I want to work on.
Which I agree to an extent, but at the same time, I would say, focus on just 2 or 3 things that you feel like are going to give you the most bang for your buck.
Yeah. So what I am currently working on, we're not going to talk about quite yet because it's not in the stage, but basically an aggressive serve. So, if you follow Dan Gingrich, Randy Coleman on Facebook, they're going to tell you this is a gimme. This is you are in complete control of this shot. So make it this serve. Yeah. Make it as aggressive as you can.
Push it a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I think has been kind of a philosophical shift in many ways. It used to be like you watch the pros and it's just like they're just kind of hitting it to get the point started.
Just get it in.
But more and more you're seeing pros, especially singles for sure, but even in doubles, pushing their serve a little more. And you mentioned Randy, who we had on last week, and when we've been playing with him this week, that's the thing that I think I've taken away probably most from him is pushing the serve and pushing the return. Like, don't be afraid if you hit one out. Now, if you're hitting half of them out, then maybe dial it back a little bit. But you should be pushing your serve to the extent that you're not just serving it in the middle of the box. Like, it should be getting all the way to the back line, within a couple feet consistently. That's, at the level that I'm at right now, as like you said, approaching a 5-0. I want to be getting as close to that back line as possible.
I think a lot of our friends are, though. As I think about where I position myself on returning a serve, I am a solid 3 feet behind that baseline consistently because our friends do serve. So kudos to them. We have aggressive servers in our crowd. So
so with the serve though, then the return, this is a part that just makes me a little bit more nervous. I mean, with the serve, it's less risky in terms of if I miss my serve, I'm not giving the other team a point, right? Yeah. I hate missing returns. And as my partner, I hate when my partner misses returns too, because it's just a free point that we have just handed to the other team. They've done nothing except serve to us. So it's like, still push your return, but man, make sure it's in.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to get it so deep. But if you can get it deeper, the more you push it. And that's where I think that really separates. Those are the nuances you're talking about. Whereas if you can get it deeper and have your return put the other opponents getting a tough time to get to the line, that's going to give you a huge advantage. So.
And now we've talked about the returner returns in front of them and my partner who's up at the line is squeezing middle. So that's kind of a whole new strategy that I've been playing out for the last couple months.
Yeah, really having the person up squeezing middle, almost taking the shot.
Just taking
almost
their next
no
shot.
matter what, unless it is really far to their partner side. But especially with my length, I'm getting a lot of those. Even I'm doing that more and more in men's as well. Whereas I can even
get to a lot of them because I can just shuffle over.
You're quick enough to do that. So,
anyways, that's kind of a little tip is returning in front of you.
Yep. And I think that does also put a little bit more pressure on the person hitting that third shot when they see somebody right in the middle and they're trying to avoid them.
They have to hit a hero shot, kind of, to get it away from that person who's really covering the entire court.
Yeah.
And not only that, but this person is running up. So, like, they've got more pressure then. Yeah. So that's something I've been thinking about, too.
Okay. That's a good one. So, serves and returns, anything else that you're thinking about in terms of those? Okay. Let's move on to the second stage then. And that is the struggle to the line. So, you've got the serve, you've got the return. Now you're trying to get to the line. So, you are the returning team. Hopefully, you've hit a nice return that's high enough that allows you to get up. You've already gotten to the line. Really, it's more the serving team then that's hitting that third shot drop and trying to move up. Anything you've been
I don't
working
know.
around?
I just feel like I am not I don't know that I'm known to be an offensive player. I am better at defense. That's kind of, I think, what my skill set is. So I'm going to say this, and then it's probably going to all turn to crap because that's what happens. But I feel like my defense in that getting to the line is pretty good. Like I don't know. Am I like,
no, I would totally
I
agree
can
with
get
that.
to balls.
Yeah.
So I have lots of other things to work on. Trust me. But I feel fairly comfortable in that area.
Yeah. I think
I can always get better.
yeah. The one tweak I would make to that I would like to see you work on a little bit more is not being afraid to be aggressive.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get into this mode where you're just like block, 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 and you do it well most of the time. But then somebody leaves one up and you have a split second to really attack that.
Yeah.
I'd like you to try to attack that more and to attack with a purpose, not just attack and put it in the middle for their forehand where they may be able to counter and point over, but going either at their hips or at their backhand, someplace that's going to set you up more for success. But by and large, I agree. Because you don't have a tennis background, your drive isn't as formidable.
Yeah.
So you do rely on your defense, your quick hands, and your movement to be able to do well in that.
Yeah.
For me, I would say it's just that, again, consistency. I feel like I'm improving in that area. I would say a couple weeks ago, I was playing the best pickleball of my life. Now I feel like it's always kind of up and down. The last few times I've been out have not been as good. And I feel like it's because I've been leaving the ball up a little bit more. Or
I feel
missing.
like it matters to know that it has been like windy and stormy.
That's true.
And so windy pickleball is still fun. It's just a touch messier.
That's true.
You just can't control it. Like you can control as much as you can. There are things. But when you walk away from a windy session, it just felt more like messy.
Yeah. And I guess I actually said that wrong. I don't feel like I've been leaving it up more the last few times. I feel like I've been having more balls hit into the net. So not getting the lift on it. And really kind of like you're saying, trusting my defense. The pros, we've talked about this before, 96% of their third shots go over the net, are in. Like that's missing 1 out of 21-ish. That's an incredibly high number. That means in a game that's probably missing one once every couple games that you play. So not being afraid to leave them high, trusting your defense to work in. It's like a cardinal sin at the level that I'm at right now to put one into the net. Like that just drives me nuts, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. So I'd say that's what I'm working on, is continuing to kind of push for that 96% where I want to get them over.
Yeah. And to your point, as you're approaching 5-0, the difference between a, 3-5 and 5-0 is not that you have now listen, you have better shots. Yes. You don't have the magic shots. You have fewer errors.
Right.
So I think that's a big thing to work on as you try to get better at pickleball in general is fewer errors.
And coming from golf, I was a near scratch golfer as well. And I had the ability to hit a shot just like a pro did. But same thing, I couldn't do it consistently.
Right.
Time
You couldn't
after
do
time
it 99 out of 100
time.
times.
Right. So from 150 yards out, I could hit a good iron and I could, stick one into 5 feet. But the times I did that was maybe, 10% of the time compared to a pro that is probably going to put that shot, within 5 feet half the time. So
so that would be a point of encouragement though, is I don't know that there's necessarily a ton more things to learn to get better at pickleball. There are strategy and stuff like that, but it's oftentimes just becoming more consistent in your
well
in your
said.
shots.
100%.
So.
All right. So there are 2 stages.
Yep.
Good time for a break.
Yep.
Let's take a quick commercial break and then we'll come back. We'll talk the last 2 stages and what we're working on, and maybe some things that beginners could be working on as well to help them get more consistent like we're talking about. All right. We'll be right back.
Parents, your teen driver or soon-to-be driver looks to you for guidance on safe driving techniques.
Drive Alive is an organization dedicated to young driver safety. Visit our website at drivealiveindiana.org to view videos designed to facilitate conversations between parents and their teen drivers.
Topics include getting to know your vehicle, understanding car insurance, simple car maintenance, and what to do if you just had an accident.
Visit drivealiveindiana.org to learn more. Welcome back to one more game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. So we are talking what we are working on currently. So it's midsummer. We've all been playing quite a bit outside, in the elements, for sure. Like you mentioned, it's been most times we play, it's windy. There's been only a couple times it's like, man, there's hardly any wind. This is kind of weird. And the rain took me indoors today, and it was weird to be inside. I always forget how dark it feels inside when you're used to daylight. And
it's just such a different depth perception when you move from outdoors to indoors. It just does take a minute with like wide open spaces versus a green curtain behind you. It's like,
right.
It's different.
For sure. So first two stages we already talked about: serve and return. We talked about the struggle to the line. How about in the dink game? Anything you are working on in the dink game right now?
Yeah, I feel like I still will change my mind in a mid dink whether I should speed it up or not, and I usually end up popping it up. And I think I pop
speed up, so the fourth. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. So like I'm dinking, and I think I can speed one up, so I kind of mishit it. Because then I'm like, no, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And so I hit it high, and I'm like, that is not what I wanted to do. So I could probably be more patient, not be so antsy to speed it up, and just dink lower.
Yeah. Probably. I do think for you, I would say your dinking has improved quite a bit. I've noticed even in the last couple weeks seeing some really good dink rallies that you've had, like back and forth against.
I've changed my grip, which that was a whole thing.
Okay.
So that'll really screw you up for a while.
And you have gone more Eastern, meaning you have rolled your hand over a little bit more to the right.
Yeah, so my paddle's a little more closed.
And so that's giving you a little bit more top spin.
And allows me to dink a little bit lower.
Okay.
But it messed with me.
Even on your drives a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying to create
my drives are a little better too. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I would say for me, what I am working on, not just dinking, but just in general when I'm at the line, is trying to hit the ball further away from my body. So I'm trying to, and it's again one of the things I've noticed playing with Randy, a senior pro, a lot of the shots he's hitting are not in close to his body. You know, we talk about being compact when we teach, especially for beginners, is, you know, we don't want you taking big wild swings, but as you get stronger and more confident, I do think it's important for a couple reasons. One, for misdirection. I feel like when you have that the paddle out away from you, it's easier to kind of leave it open and hit kind of like that, you know, sweeping brush shot that is kind of like a misdirection. It also gives you more power. I'm doing that on my serves, keeping the paddle away from me, but even dinking, just trying to kind of get the paddle out away from my body.
Because it doesn't mean you're taking a big backswing.
Right.
It just means you're sliding a little bit more, so you have more of an extended arm.
Yep.
For better angles. And
yeah, it creates more angles. Yeah. That's a good way to say it too. I've noticed that a lot with Randy, where he'll, you know, he's not a real tall guy. He's self-deprecating in that way, in fact, but some of the angles he creates by, you know, having his arm way out and creating those angles is really impressive. So I think
all of our tennis listeners are like, no duh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
keep in mind, we are not tennis players.
Right. I think also with dinking is just the fundamentals of trying to get that ball down to their feet.
Yeah, because we also do play in a crowd of, like, sometimes I've joked after a session of playing a couple hours, there's no dinking in pickleball.
Right.
Like, you know, there's no crying in baseball.
Yeah. And we play with a lot of
We don't dink a ton.
We play with a lot of ex-tennis players who don't love to dink. They want to hit the ball hard, which is good for the banging side of things. But that's why you and I, when we go out, most of our drilling time is really working on dinking, because at the higher levels, I think we reach a point where you've got to be able to do a sustained dink rally. So anything else on dinking, or just kind of at the line, everybody's up?
I mean, I was going to say that's probably mine too, was the footwork, where, you know, when a ball's coming at me, like, I'm a good mover, but oftentimes I just stay where I am and I hit the ball where I am instead of sliding left and right
Yeah.
to get a better angle or a better shot, a better roll, forehand and backhand. So I've actually been working a lot recently on just moving my feet more.
Yeah.
Which, you know, again, it's kind of back to my point where, you know, 3-0, 3-5, even 4-0, you can get away with that.
Right.
You can get away with, you know, not moving your feet as much. You can get away with not split stepping as well and all of that. But I think once you get to 4-5, those little tiny nuances, those minor things, it seems like at the time, really become a big thing because it really affects your game.
I agree with you 100%. And I think I've kind of gotten there where it's almost you have to go back to the fundamentals.
You do. Like, that's the thing. Like, if we had gotten those fundamentals as maybe tennis players or something,
right?
I don't know.
Or you kind of get lazy at the beginning.
Right.
You're like, I'll do
like, I don't know. This is just fun to play.
Yeah. That did make me think just in terms of the dink game as well. You mentioned something. One of those fundamental things that we teach that I really think I've struggled with lately, and especially in the mixed game, I've been noticing I play much better in men's than I do in mixed. And
have you seen that meme guy? The pickleball meme guy? He had something that was like, men like men. Men prefer men's doubles.
Yeah.
And women prefer mixed doubles, which I think is so true. I totally get when you're playing with 4 men how it's just better. And
I guess as I reflect though, it's just interesting. It's not like I like it because of the style of play or anything, but I feel like I'm kind of a weird case study in this because I'm typically a left-sided player, even in men's, but I'm not your typical, maybe you disagree with this as I say it. I feel like people are going to be like, yeah, right. But I feel like I let the person on the right take a lot of the balls. In men's, I do. But this is what I'm saying. So I think in men's, I do because I love to play the role of like the hunter.
Yes, you do.
Where I like to go up and I like to try to pick off and poach. And so in order to free me up to do that, I like for somebody else to take those. I think it's like a subconscious thing, but in mixed, I think I take more of the thirds than I should, you know, to your point that I can read your mind right now saying. And so I think as I just reflect on that, but I kind of got away from what I was saying that I also notice is that I've done a poor job lately of like, we'll talk about, you should have like an 8-foot rope connected to your hips, this invisible rope. So as you and your partner are moving side to side or up and down, you should be back and forth towards the kitchen line. You should be kind of staying about, 6 to 8 feet apart so that you're kind of covering the court. And I've noticed when I have partners that are more mobile than others and will slide out to maybe do an ATP or to try to jump to do an Ernie, playing with Randy several times, he kind of was like, where were you? Like, that I didn't slide over far enough because he was going for, and you're not really looking for Ernies too much. And some of my other partners maybe aren't doing that as much. And so I need to remember when my partner slides off to the court and either looking to go ATP or Ernie, I need to kind of come with them to cover that side. And if it comes back across me, then I should have enough time to respond over there. But making sure that I kind of keep with that rope concept.
Yeah. It is so interesting to hear you talk about that because, we also have gotten to a point, I hope this does not come across as like prideful or whatever, but like where we are still moving very well and hear me. So I'm when I play with like the neighborhood wonderful, my favorite neighborhood people who are
more in the 3-5 4-0 range.
The amount of balls that are not covered, it just surprises me. It's understandable. It just surprises me, and I'm like, oh, you weren't there. That's totally okay.
Right.
But there is so much that we have intuitively at this point covered.
And that's the key word is intuitively.
Yeah.
But that's also maybe, again, for those people who are more at that 3-5, 4-0 level to think about is that movement, trying to stay with your partner. And that just takes
and even today at our
whose
clinic,
ball is it?
Even today at our clinic, there was a ball that was missed, and I had to, I told somebody, I was like, you have to cover, you have middle. In this particular angle, you have middle.
Yeah.
Because if he hits that hero shot, that's just great.
Yeah.
but you have to cover the middle.
The middle was probably their forehand, right?
It was her forehand. Yeah. So it was just interesting. Like, to me at this point, that's intuitive. I had kind of forgotten that you had to learn that.
Yeah. And as instructors, as teachers, it's good for us to be reminded of that. Yeah. That's a really good thing to teach, is just that spacing and that communication as well. Yeah. All right, last stage is the speed up. I don't have a whole lot on this that I'm working on, other than I would say Troy, one of my buddies that we play with quite a bit, is him and I were talking just the other day about trying to kind of call what we call like a faux speed up, like a fake speed up. So tricky. You're going at somebody, you're kind of giving them it's almost like the bait, where you speed it up enough that they are going to try to really jump on that, but then you're sitting there waiting for their response. So it's almost like kind of a combo. I think I've heard other people call that, where I'm going to go at your right shoulder or your right hip, and so I'm expecting you to then come back at me, but I'm sitting there waiting for it, ready to go. Yeah. And it's something I've played around with more and more, but against high level competition, it's pretty hard, because it's a fine line between giving them too good of bait that they take and beat you with, but giving them just enough that they maybe speed up right into your breadbasket. So.
Yeah. I was gonna say two things. One is, when you have maybe inches to spare in 3.0, 3.5, maybe even 4.0, it's millimeters when you get higher, like at the higher levels, 1 millimeter too high can be sped up really back at you. So it's even more important to keep it low. So keeping it low so you're not sped up on. And then I was actually going to say too, I was listening to this podcast, which I'm going to shout out to 4.0 to Pro, and I've only listened to one episode. And it was interesting because he was talking about how you never speed it up cross court. And I don't know that I'd really process that, because again, not the thinker, but there are things that I do intuitively. And it's so interesting how often I thought there are times when I'm on the left side and there's a backhand dink, I will not concern myself with leaving it high, because so my forehand's in the middle, so often it's high, that person speeds it up, right up the middle, and I'm right here. Right. On my forehand, and I can nail it up the center. So my point here is not only thinking about like where to speed it up, like you don't speed it up at my forehand. Right. You probably nail the person in front of you. Right. so there's some, strategy based on like where you do your speed up. Yeah, for sure. As you get better and better.
And learning. I mean, I think those that play with me a lot know that I do that same thing. I slide over and I'm looking at my forehand to be there. So instead of them going up the middle, then they'll go right at me. And I'm exposed and
you get hit a lot.
Body bagged. I've done better lately. I say that, but I feel like several times this morning I
body bagged you.
Did you? Oh, okay. I don't remember.
Right in the hip.
Oh, okay. I put it out of my memory. So it was good. Yeah, I think that's good. A good just recap
things
of everything.
To think about and things to improve. I mean, it's even playing in our, like, I love playing in our neighborhood. We've got such a great community of pickleball players, but even playing in the community, like, I love it because I work on things. Like, I am working on something every single time I go out to play. No matter what maybe that's good or bad, whatever it is. I don't know. I am constantly thinking of something to work on, whether it's just simple.
How can I get better?
Yeah. I'm just going to work on my two-handed backhand topspin roll. Yep. This game.
That's good. All right. Let's take one more quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap everything up, share the things we love, and we do have one other thing, kind of a quick news and views thing that we'll do as well. So we'll be right back.
Between the two of us, we've had 7 orthopedic surgeries, 4 cortisone injections, and countless injuries that have required physical therapy, and we are only in our early 40s. So where do we go when we need physical therapy? Indiana Physical Therapy.
That's right, Abby. With 22 locations in Fort Wayne and the surrounding counties, Indiana Physical Therapy will be there to get you back to work, play, and life.
Indiana Physical Therapy, where people go to get better.
Visit indianapt.com for more information. Welcome back to One More Game, presented by Hoosier Pickleball. So to wrap things up today, in this episode we were talking about all the things we're working on. Anything else that comes to mind? For me, I'll give you a second to think. I would say just mentality wise, I talked a little bit about like third shot drop. I know how to hit a third shot drop. So 90% of that I think is mental, is just executing the drop to hit it up and over the net and to do that consistently. Yeah. I think that's a lot of that's just between the ears and even just in the wind. I was really proud of you this week. We played in some super windy conditions. I think it's on Tuesday night. And I liked how I didn't hear you talk about the wind much. And
I did say it hurts my shoulder more.
You did say it hurts your shoulder more, but you played pretty well. I don't remember you playing like outstanding.
I beat you.
I don't remember that, but I do actually.
You do.
I do want some revenge. But yeah, I thought your mentality was good. You heard people all throughout saying, "Oh, the wind, it's crazy, it's crazy." Like, I'm always like, "Yes, it's windy. Like, get over it. Yeah. Let's keep playing."
Yeah.
And the more you talk about it, the more it gets in your head and it affects you. Recognize that it's windy. We have a whole episode on that, but just mentality wise. It's windy
out there. It's windy out there. You should go listen to it.
Yeah.
I will say too, Matt came home, and this is also, we also have an episode on nutrition. Matt came home and was like, I didn't play very well. And then like 20 minutes later, he's like, I haven't eaten since breakfast. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, did you not connect those dots? Mm-hmm. There is no way I could play pickleball at 5 o'clock in the evening if I had not eaten since breakfast.
I did connect the dots, but I had such a busy day, and it's one of those things. When I finally could have gotten something to eat, it's right before we go play, so I could have had something light, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
I would be a disaster.
Yeah, you would. You would be hangry.
Yeah. I'd be on the ground.
Hangry Abby is not a fun Abby. Not my favorite Abby. But yeah,
just keep me fed.
I try. So we were also going to talk just a quick news and views thing. You saw something recently.
Yeah, I just thought this was interesting.
That you thought was really.
So I'm going to explain this before I talk about it. So I don't know if you've watched men's and women's volleyball, but
volleyball.
Oh, okay. Men's Olympic or college level volleyball is surprisingly boring, and here why. Because while it is so exciting to watch them just jump out of the gym and like smash that ball so hard, every rally is a serve.
It's quicker.
Serve and then bumps that spike, done.
Yeah, serve, it'd be interesting to know the statistics on that. And our friends Tim and Jean Heffron, who are huge volleyball people, are probably very upset with you.
Well, I'm talking Olympic level, so
they're okay. College Olympic level.
Okay.
I mean,
But I mean, I love watching volleyball. Like, hear me, I do. I just there's not long rallies in men's volleyball. I think I can say that without irritating anybody. Women's college and Olympic level is so fun to watch because there are longer rallies. They're not 7 feet tall, jumping out of the gym and just smashing it. Yeah. So
again, I would like to know the statistics. But you have statistics for pickleball.
Picklemart statistics. He did some rally metrics in women's pro and men's pro doubles. So, and his caption was, I lost it. And people wonder why pro women's doubles is more exciting to watch. Because there's more shots per rally. There's, interestingly enough, fewer dinks.
Yeah, because that was going to be
more speed ups.
When we talked about this a little bit, I was like, well, it's maybe it's longer rallies, but does that mean they're just kind of dinking back and forth? No. But it's actually the exact opposite.
It is a significantly more firefighting.
Yeah.
But it's still longer shots per rally. So there's more firefighting in women's pro doubles than there is in men's.
Yeah. And
I feel like I love that about pickleball. It is a sport that it is fun to watch women play. Because do people watch the WNBA? I don't know.
There's a few.
Everybody's moms.
I wonder how many that listen to our podcast are also huge WNBA fans.
Will you email us?
Yeah.
I want to know who you are.
But your point is,
right?
Why are you busting on the WNBA?
Because women's basketball is not fun to watch. Women's pickleball is. And that's another reason why I love this sport, is because it's fun to watch. The women are very good and very fun to watch, like women's volleyball.
Yeah. So why do you think that is in terms of so their firefights, obviously they have really good hands, they have good defense. So the men's are just a little bit like they're able to put the ball away a little bit more easily. Do you think it is what it is?
I think, well, I don't know. I think women, my guess is that the men's dinks are a touch more accurate. So there's more dinking and less opportunity to firefight.
Interesting.
My suspicion is women, because there's less dinking and more firefighting, is there's probably touch higher dinks is my guess. I have no idea.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Because if you watch the men's dinks, they are low and hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But with men generally being taller and having more length, you would think that it would be more advantageous. They'd have more opportunities to speed it up.
Yeah, but it is a significant difference.
Yeah. What are the percentages?
So the percentage of speed ups in men's pro doubles is 19.2%. I guess in shots in a rally are a speed up. Would be my guess of what that means.
Yeah.
And so in women's, it's 35.6. That is a significant difference.
Wow.
In percentage of speed up shots versus.
I mean, it's nearly double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That really is.
Everything else is pretty similar.
Very interesting.
Wins on a serve, third shot drop percentage, third shot drive percentage is nearly identical.
Yeah. And that came from our friend Alex.
From Pickle Mart.
From Pickle Mart.
So if you follow them on Instagram at pklmart.analytics, you'll get all sorts of interesting things.
That's fun. I still wear Alex's hat that he sent me pretty much every time I play.
You do. It's a very nice hat.
Yeah. And today I'm wearing...
Jigsaw hat.
How's my hair? You were making fun of my hair.
It's great.
Earlier tonight, is it? But I'm wearing Randy's hat that he gave me.
Yeah, that's a good hat.
For Jigsaw.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to feel good. All right, let's wrap it up. What's something you love?
Ooh, you know what? I was going to say, well, I'll say two things. I was going to revert back to my Earring of the Month Club because I still love it and I just got brand new earrings.
Are you wearing them?
I am wearing them right now.
They're beautiful.
And so I'll link that in the show notes, but it's, vulnerable women make these earrings and I buy them and then it gives them a job and it's wonderful. I was actually going to say I have literally never, maybe not never, maybe once when we were in Vegas, have I bought an electrolyte supplement to put in my water. I usually drink just water. And I really like those.
The Jigsaw ones that Randy gave us. Okay.
I do. So it's a blue raspberry. It's delicious.
All right. Love it.
I know.
You're not just saying, because we're not getting paid anything.
No, it was good. And I was like, I see why people do this.
Good. Did it make you feel better? Did you play better? Is that when you beat me? Was when you took it?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I don't know.
Okay. Let's see what I am loving. So, our church asked me to preach for the first time, which I'm pretty nervous about. So this coming Sunday, I will be preaching.
Well, this will have already been released.
No, so I'm saying it correctly. This coming Sunday. So when people are watching this coming Sunday, I will be preaching.
Yeah. Okay.
You with me? Yeah.
I'm with you.
Thanks for correcting me, though.
Sorry.
But I had a meeting with our elders, and I just wanted to say I just love our church. Our pastor actually, I think he at one point was a faithful listener.
That is doubtful.
We're now are we 40 episodes in now?
Yeah.
So maybe he's not anymore. But Jamie, if you're listening, appreciate you, appreciate our church, and excited to preach next Sunday. Been working hard on that sermon and just praying that it goes well. So
I think it's awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. Let's call it a night. Let's get to bed. Let's get you a shower because it's starting to stink a little bit. I'm just kidding. You smell great. But we will see you next time. We will be back either in the studio, if they'll have us, or back here on our couch. We will see you next week. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, Hoosier Pickleball, Indiana Physical Therapy, and Pickleball Rocks. In addition, a big thank you to our production company, Coraggio Media, and the 95.7 WELT studio in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or find us on YouTube at One More Game Pod. That's the number 1 More Game Pod. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating to help us spread the word. You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok at Hoosier Pickleball for all kinds of fun, tips, tricks, and other family nonsense, and also some great discussion. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.